story comes from Bangladesh, viewers, where the situation is out of control. Dhaka has gone rogue, viewers, rogue. It is now openly carrying out its agenda to denigrate Hindus. To the left of your screens, right in the middle, slogans are being chanted in the streets, calling for the extermination of Hindus. The attempt is to reduce Hindus to the status of second-class citizens. The Bangladesh government has not only arbitrarily jailed Iskcon priest Chinmoy Das, who's in the middle of your screens, there he is in the jail van, but has also now called for a ban on Iskcon, outlandishly linking it to terrorism. Viewers, Bangladesh Attorney General MD Asaduzzaman made an application in the High Court today calling for a ban on Iskcon. He called Iskcon court a religious fundamentalist group. In court, he went on to say there are attempts to destabilize the country. The government is dealing with a worrying situation by building national unity. The government has started the process of discussions with political parties on recent issues, unquote. Viewers, that the fate of Hindus in Bangladesh is sealed became clear a few months ago when anti-India baiter, highly bigoted Mufti Jashimuddin Rahmani, chief of the Ansar-ullah Bangla team or ABT as it's called, an Al-Qaeda inspired terrorist, was freed from jail by UNIS. You can see those pictures to the right of your screens. There he is, coming out in a police escort with, viewers, a loudspeaker in hand. Rahmani received a hero's welcome and state escort he was given when he was released from jail by the interim administration in Bangladesh. He was even allowed to give a victory speech. The pseudo-liberal ecosystem was celebrating people's power in Bangladesh, but, quote, revolutionaries, unquote, have fished out Islamist hate from their hat of possibilities. The interim government in Dhaka, led by Muhammad Yunus, is an agglomeration of technocrats and Islamists. At its core is the Hifazat-e-Islam, the HEI, a group that makes no secret of its disdain for progressive secular liberalism. It is an intensely conservative organization that openly canvasses for an Islamic state run on Sharia law. This organization has also decidedly revanchist, if not exclusivist tendencies. Here are some hard facts, and this is part of the government, viewers. The HEI has been linked to attacks on Hindus. HEI has been linked to Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh. Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh has been labelled an undesignated terror group by the US and Canadian courts. Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh is linked to terrorist groups like the JMB and the Houji that carried out terror attacks on our soil in India. Wagged by the Islamist tail, Muhammad Yunus, the interim leader of Bangladesh, is now resisting any pressure from Delhi to protect Hindu lives. Viewers, India wrote a letter to the Bangladesh government saying, please take care of these Hindus. Make sure that the individual that you have jailed is released. And viewers, Dhaka turns around and said the arrest has been misunderstood by some. A fake case has been launched against this man. Why? Because he spoke up for Hindu interests. And viewers, while the West has taken a convenient route of silence, India won't keep quiet. India has raised the concern over safety of minorities with Bangladesh, but Bangladesh's response has raised concerns here in India. The Ministry of External Affairs in India has called the charges leveled against the Hindu monk Chinmoy Prabhu unjustified, but the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bangladesh in its reply has tried to clarify its action, saying that the arrest has been misunderstood by some. Blindside to the atrocities unfolding against Hindus in their country, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bangladesh has said that all religions are being protected by the Yunus government. And you saw those pictures, viewers. Is that proof? When India raised the issue of minorities, houses being looted, vandalized and even being set ablaze, Bangladesh government replied the majority and all minorities in the country have been treated alike. The snub should not surprise anyone, viewers. The Jamaat has been given a free hand. Yunus is sounding like a PR man for radicalism. And I can tell you, since the Jamaat has actually become a force to reckon with in politics, his entire point of view has shifted. So when Jamaat was banned, the same man was saying, are they minorities, not people of this country? This is the 10th August 2024. And viewers, when the ban was lifted, he says attacks are political nature and not communal. So at one time he was speaking for Hindu interests. When the Jamaat ban was lifted, he stopped speaking for Hindu interests. He abandoned Hindu interests. Viewers, there are many such examples and this graphic will go on, but I want to open this up and introduce our panelists tonight because the question is very simple. And it's the one that needs to be asked with directness that it deserves. And it's a question, viewers, that we are going to have problems hearing the answers to. But I want to first go across to Radharaman Das, Vice President of Iskcon. Mr. Das, I want to begin by asking you, why do you believe that today the Attorney General of Bangladesh is singling you out as some sort of a terror group? Where is this coming from? And can you give our viewers a small introduction to what Iskcon does? How is it that in every Western country Iskcon is growing, has chapters, and no one abroad, in Europe, in America, labels you as a terrorist organization? Can you please tell us?
Actually, the whole day what we heard, the whole thing is very shocking. Iskcon being labeled as a terrorist organization. That can be that can be the most ridiculous thing to say. We know that Steve Jobs, in his Stanford University address, he recollected that when he was studying, he used to walk 8 miles and go to Iskcon temple to have a nice meal, nutritious meal. And when he went to the temple, he interacted with devotees there. He read Iskcon literature and he was very much inspired. The Iskcon food nourished his body, and the material which he came through there, the pravachan and the books, that inspired, that nurtured his brain and his intelligence. So Steve Jobs, then Henry Ford, great grandson Alfred Ford, he is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he is Iskcon devotee. Then Tulsi Gabbard, she is a grand disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So all around the world, we see so many people, they are inspired by Iskcon. In Russia, there are more than 150 centers, Iskcon centers. All over the world, in more than 150 countries, Iskcon temples are there, more than 750, 800 temples all over the world. And millions of people foreigners are connected with Iskcon. Iskcon is famous for its kirtan. We are famous,
okay.
Till date, Iskcon has served more than 8 billion plates of free meal all over the world. And we being labeled as a terrorist organization is the most shocking.
Let me open this up. Shafkat Rabi, Mr. Ayyar Mitra also there with us, and the BJP national spokesperson Pradeep Bhandari. Mr. Rabi, let me ask you, you're a geopolitical columnist. I want to ask you a question. Is it true that the Hifazat-e-Islam is now a part of the government? Is it true?
It is not true. It is absolutely not true. Okay. And there is like 1% from an Islamic organization which is part of the government, and that is most likely because just to have diversity. But the current government, if you look at the current government, it is headed by
Hinuds. 1 second. Is the Jamaat-e-Islami part of the government or supports the government?
Not.
Does it support the government?
Is the student wing?
Is the student wing of the Jamaat-e-Islami part of the government?
They are not part of the government.
No one is part of the government.
There is one Islamic person in the government, like Islamic leader.
Yes.
There is one, like a minority person in the government. So they took 1% from each segment of the society.
Okay.
There is one Islamic person in the government.
One Islamic person in the government.
Yeah, he's not a major Islamic leader.
No. Are you today misleading 1.3 billion Indians?
Like me, myself?
Yes, sir.
No, I am not. I'm just giving you a factual statement.
Okay.
I just say Jamaat-Islam is not part of
So viewers, Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh, which props up the government of Mr. Yunus, we are supposed to think is a non-entity in politics in Bangladesh. If that is true, sir, why was why was the leader, this particular individual called Rahmani, the Ansarul Bangla team, Al-Qaeda inspired terrorists freed from jail by Mr. Yunus? Can you explain?
Yeah, so the history is quite complex on that one. Rahmani went to jail under Sheikh Hasina.
Yes.
And then he served about, I think, 10 plus years in jail.
Okay.
And the only like a verdict that he had was a 5 years jail term, which he served. And this is all under Sheikh Hasina, the government that left Bangladesh in August.
So
Rahmani
Hasina
and some
goes,
other individual.
Hasina goes, and we should release all the terrorists or people linked to Al-Qaeda.
What happened, that's what I was saying. It's a complex situation. So
oh, very complex it is. But so easy to come out and say Iskcon should be banned. All these other terrorists, all these other terrorists are out there.
Iskcon will not be banned.
No, who says? Your Attorney General has made a deposition in court. Has he not? Or am I lying?
There is one, like a individual went to the court.
One individual, viewers. Everyone is an individual. Everyone is an exception. Everyone is just one person. But you see,
Sir,
1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1
government.
makes many, viewers.
Sir, I'm not here.
No, are you telling me that are you disowning? No, I'm not saying that you are. But are you disowning tonight the Attorney General of Bangladesh, sir?
I am telling you what's going to happen, and you can write
I don't
it
care
down
about
on a
what's
piece of paper.
happening. I am saying
Iskcon
on what
will
basis.
not be banned in Bangladesh because the major political parties do not want them banned.
No, 1 second, sir. Major political party, does an Attorney General not represent your government, yes or no?
The statement that you read from the Attorney General, it was a response to a petition filed by an individual.
Sir, I don't care. He has taken a position. Ban.
He did not.
Ban. Sir, he's made a
He did
deposition in court.
He made arguments on both sides of the aisle, and then he concluded saying that this is up to the government to decide.
No, that's
what he
fine.
said, if you read the statement.
An Attorney General, a man who represents the interests of the court, of the government, comes out and says it should be banned.
So, sir, do you want to hear analytical response, or do you
No, I don't want to hear
like
no, hang on. I don't want to hear an apology for an individual who has come out and sought a ban on the
And I'm saying
Iskcon, on
that
the
it is
Iskcon,
unlikely to happen
while
because-
terrorists are being released and the Jamaat is running riot and there is visual evidence of atrocities being committed on Hindus, sir.
Yes. Yeah, let's talk about that then.
Yes.
Because those are more factual than what you are saying.
No, I'm only saying that you're releasing these Islamists, and after that there has been an upsurge in attacks on Hindus. What is unfactual about this?
The unfactual part here is that you are missing the background here.
Okay.
Those guys served their term, and there were no new cases filed against them by Hasina. So by the time the Yunus government came, those guys were in jail without any term to serve anymore.
Okay.
There were no new charges.
Right.
That's why they left.
So release them. Okay. Mr. Iyer, how do you respond to the gentleman and his point of view tonight?
Mohammed Yunus is very good at manipulating the international media. He's been put in his place. Our friend from Bangladesh is absolutely right. There is only one Islamist who's part of the government, other than one more student leader who's made virulently anti-Hindu remarks in the past. So our friend from Bangladesh is right. The problem with Mohammed Yunus is he's a fantastic media manipulator. This is a man who's part of the WEF and George Soros cabal, Hillary Clinton Foundation and things like that. He knows exactly what to say and do in public. Now understand, this is, sure, it is a fault of Sheikh Hasina that a lot of these things were not renewed. But you look at a lot of other people who were let off from government, who were awaiting trials, still awaiting trials, by the way, they were let off, right? Now, this is a government which in its formal response to the MEA has said, we do not interfere in judicial processes. But you can drop charges then, just like you drop the charges with lots of these other guys. Do you know what Swami Chinmoy has been picked up for, Rahul? Do you know what the exact sedition, the sedition charge was for?
Waving a flag.
In a meeting,
yeah,
the saffron flag was higher than the Bangladesh flag, right? This is the kind of flimsy grounds they are now charging people with. And this is much flimsier than the actual charges that Sheikh Hasina brought against Mohammed Yunus. Okay. Number one. Number two, what has ended up happening is when they say they don't interfere in judicial processes, how many videos have we seen of protests against judges and things like that? His own members of ministry coming out and saying judges appointed by Sheikh Hasina should resign and things like that. Today, the Attorney General, see, this ban, not ban, our friend from Bangladesh is right. He's actually concluded saying that these are the arguments made by left and right. This is something for the government to decide. But in his description of Iskcon, he's called it an extreme fundamentalist organization. From what angle is Iskcon extreme fundamentalist? The only thing they're fundamentalist about is their vegetarianism. Do you even call that fundamentalism? Being extreme in not killing something is fundamentalism, is it? So, understand, they are actually, Muhammad Yunus is one of those very, very insidious, crooked creatures who knows how to navigate the world of Western NGOs, tick all the right boxes, use lawfare the right way. But he is a man who owes his political power to the Jamaat-e-Islami. The student protests were just a front. It was the Jamaat-e-Islami manipulating those protests through and through. They are in a very angry mode because in a way the army denied them the power that they wanted to get through this thing. Possibly in putting the students in front, they lost out their attempt at grabbing power. And remember, the Jamaat-e-Islami is particularly obscurantist. They are also anti-Bengali. We need to remember this. This is the party of Razakars that was helping the Pakistan army kill Bengalis.
Yes.
Right? And
that's why I said they were remorseless.
They have an interest in aggravating things. The problem is because Muhammad Yunus is so indebted to them. And he is, one of those typical, generally if you win the Nobel Prize, Rahul, this is something we need to clarify pretty well. All Nobel Prizes today are concerted PR campaigns.
That might be so, but you see, my problem is today, there is a situation, I want to bring in Mr. Pradeep Bhandari also. There is a situation where Bangladesh seems to have turned a deaf ear. You have columnists and commentators like Mr. Rabi who come out and say that, listen, you're just making a lot out of nothing.
Well, Rahul, just because radicalization has a moderate phase, that does not mean that radicalization is justified. What we're seeing in Bangladesh is deeply concerning. Sweden Islam was a terrorist. Abbas Ali is a terrorist. Imalum Islam is a terrorist. So yes, there are series of incidents when terrorists have been freed by the current administration, which is deeply concerning. Now on the part, I'll just draw a parallel in the next 1.5 minutes on what the current administration is thinking of banning. Well, Iskcon, as for what we are aware, operates more than 900 temples across the world, is operative in 100 countries. It serves 2 million meals a day. It is followed by world leaders from Trump to Obama to Tulsi Gabbard. Till now, Iskcon has served more than 4 billion meals. Are you telling me that an organization which protects Hindu rights is a terrorist organization? Well, I'll tell you what a terrorist organization is. Well, a terrorist organization, which a lot of people say is a Jamaat-e-Islami, which is a part right now supportive of the government, which was founded in 1941 by Sayyid Abul Allah, whose ideology preaches extremism, who believes that anybody who does not agree with their ideology, they should be eliminated anywhere across the world, who believes in takfirism, which means that extreme form of violence is justified in society. And this is what we are seeing in Bangladesh. It worries me, and I do hope that the administration in Bangladesh pays heed to it, because you remember what happened in Chittagong, Rahul, where as per media reports, you had armed forces going and abducting Hindu men. So the question here is that is there state-sponsored terror happening against the Hindu men and women in Bangladesh?
Mr.
And
Chandra,
if that is so, then this is religious extremism.
August 31st, Mr. Chandra, there's a meeting between the interim government's chief advisor, Muhammad Yunus, and Hifazat-e-Islam leader, Manmul Haq. Those meetings are not anti-Bangladesh, but Iskcon is. Can you hear me, Mr. Chandra? Would you like to respond? Can you hear me? Okay, I don't think you can hear me. Let me bring in the geopolitical correspondent. Let me bring him in, Mr. Rabi. I want to ask you, Muhammad Yunus meets Hifazat-e-Islam leader Manmul Haq in Dhaka. We all know the Hifazat-e-Islam. This is like, you know, the Prime Minister of Pakistan meeting with the Al-Qaeda chief. How would that have gone down in the international community, in India, in any other country of the world? You tell me.
Yeah, one thing I would start saying though, the Bangladesh chapter of Iskcon has issued a statement. I do not think you guys read it. It came out today and they disassociated themselves with Prabhu Chinmoy. So go ahead and read prothomalo.com and read the news on it. So Iskcon already disowned.
Let me ask the Vice President, have you disassociated yourself from Mr. Das?
No, actually, Chinmoy Krishna Das is a Iskcon devotee, but he doesn't hold any position like that. So that, I think, that has been clarified.
Oh, that's all that has been clarified. So he's a
Not
devotee.
only that.
No, 1 second. He's
Please
a
read
devotee.
the statement.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to read the statement. I'm not saying anything.
No,
Just
what
go
is the
ahead and read
statement? Radharam Das, have you disassociated yourself with Mr. Chinmay, the monk?
The movement, they disassociated with the movement of Chinmoy. That's what they did.
No, the movement, like the Chinmoy Krishna Das is leading the movement. So that movement is different,
How
and
does
he is
it
member of
justify
Iskcon. That is
sedition
two
charges
different things.
against a Hindu minority monk?
Yeah.
The question is, Shafiq, how does it justify a sedition charge against a Hindu minority monk?
Yeah, the charge is totally unsubstantiated. It's a bad charge.
It's a
and it
bad
should
charge.
never
So why
be-
would a bad charge be applied? That is the question, Mr. Abi.
Yes. So I agree with that statement.
Okay,
that
I'll tell you
the
why,
charge
viewers.
sounds
It's very
frivolous.
simple. You see, we have come now to the point at the end of this
Yeah.
conversation where we have now got out of the Bangladesh guest that this was a bad charge, bad in law. The reason is, viewers, because, as I told you, Muhammad Yunus is hobnobbing with Islamist exclusivists who want to build a caliphate in Bangladesh. They want to break away from the vision of Mujibur Rahman. They don't want Bangladesh to exist as a nation that upholds secular values. So all these Islamists are telling Yunus,
Guys,
shut down everybody
can I-
else. Is it a
Can I
fact,
say
Mr. Hadi?
something?
Is it a fact?
Yeah.
Is this a fact? Okay. Viewers, is this a fact, Mr. Habib?
He's just
Is
lied
this a
on the
fact?
show. Sorry to
Shafqat.
interrupt you.
Yes.
He's just lied on your show. The Iskcon Bangladesh chapter denounces arrest of Chinmoy Krishna Das, calls for peaceful coexistence.
Okay, there you go. That's just been put out. That's just come out a short while
Yes.
back. Viewers, anyhow, look, the point is, viewers, the point is, Hindus are going to have a terrible time in Bangladesh. And it now devolves upon our government to step in forcefully. And here is a plea that goes out from this show to the government to take action. And tomorrow we will be looking into what steps the government can take. Take a short break, viewers. The Vantage coming up with Palki Sharma.